Starting with, can you tell us a little bit more about what brings you out here to Laramie?
Well, we're working on a piece with ABC Nightly, and just kidding. ABC Nightline. We're here in Laramie, Wyoming. It's been 20 years since the murder of Matthew Shepard, and we want to see how things have changed here in Laramie, and what is the state of Laramie right now.
And what, or how has Matthew's story really spoken to you on a personal level?
Well, you know what? I was 8 years old during the events of Matthew Shepard, and I didn't remember much, but now as I dig deeper into the story, it hits home. It hits really close to home, and I remember little details because my mom and my dad were really into following the story, and it really makes me grateful for Matthew's parents, because the activism that they really pursued immediately after the murder of their son helped make a huge difference for a lot of people, and I'm definitely one of those people. They really pushed for to talk about things and really bring to light a lot of issues that affected a lot of other LGBTQ people.
How did you get involved with this ABC project?
Well, you know what? It's the 20-year anniversary, and I think especially now it's an important time to revisit a story like this, because I think that we have a lot of reflecting to do, as a country, of where we stand on different issues like this. I think it's important to look back and see, remind ourselves of how far we've come and how much more work that we still have to do.
Do you have any early impressions of Laramie and Wyoming?
I have been reading a lot into the story of Matthew Shepard, and I've been reading a lot of the accounts and interviews of people from here in Laramie, and everybody was 100% right that this is really one of the most beautiful places I've ever been. It's beautiful, it's serene. It is a small town, but there's something so welcoming. I've only been here a few hours, and I've already run into a few people who've come up to me, and we've chatted about what they think of Laramie and what it's like living here, and it's been a really great experience so far.
And you briefly touched on it, but you kind of said where we need to go now with the LGBT community and human rights in general. Do you think that there's a lot more that needs to be done, or do you think that we are down a good path that's looking positive?
I think that there are things that have gotten better, but of course there's still a lot of work to do. I think that when we can post a story or retweet a story of LGBTQ excellence, whether that's a gay man or a trans woman or a gay person of color, when we can retweet a story about that and there isn't a comment that's hateful, I think that's when we're in a good place. But there are still comments like that. There are still people who have a negative opinion, really don't hold the values that I hold, don't hold the values that other LGBTQ citizens hold. I think that it's really important that we really reflect, and that as the gay community, we come together and we help raise each other up. That if we feel like if we have more representation now, it's our opportunity to help other peoples within the community to also feel that as well.
I guess in your interviews this week while you're here, what are you kind of curious to learn, through doing some of those interviews?
I'm curious to learn what it's like to be a gay person here in Laramie. I'm curious to what it was like growing up as a gay person in the 90s, how things have changed. I've learned a lot about some of the younger people here that we'll be talking to. And I'm from a small town too. I'm from Clark Summit, Pennsylvania, and I know what my experience was like growing up. And it's totally different of the experience of younger kids growing up today. I didn't come out until I was in my early 20s. And later today I'll be talking to somebody who's only 15. Their experience is different, and I'm curious to what they feel now, and how do they live their lives, and how do they help their friends, and what is their relationship within their schools and in their communities.
What was the experience like of when you participated in the reading of the Laramie Project?
It was incredibly powerful. To learn about the story was one thing, but to really perform and be a character in the story, I felt like I was a part of it. During the Laramie performance, Matthew Shepard, Matthew's father, read his statement in court, and it was a pretty powerful moment. It was probably something I'll never forget, especially within the dress rehearsal when it was the first time I heard him speak. Everything that they've been through, that they've revisited this tragedy every year, but they've also taken it and tried to make such good out of something so evil and so horrible, has been absolutely incredible, and it speaks to the strength of the Shepherd family.
Why is the phenomenon of his murder still important? Why is it something that people need to keep fresh in their minds?
I think it was brutal, and it was awful, and it was inhumane. And I think that we need to revisit that because it was a murder completely out of hate for something about someone that they couldn't change. That there are hate crimes that still happen like this. And they happen inside the LGBTQ community. And it's important that we know and we revisit stories like this because this isn't how we want to be represented as human beings. We know that we're better than that, but we know that this still exists. So we learn our history so that we don't repeat